Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, coming to you from beautiful Connecticut. I hope you're all having a wonderful Christmas season with family and loved ones. But I did want to comment on the increasingly imploding case of that deep state hack Jack Smith against President Trump. Before we do that, as many of you know, we have unfortunately been demonetized by the Grinches over at Google. So make sure to show some love to the sponsor of this video, and that's the amazing patriots over at Goldco. You've seen the price of gold of late, haven't you? It's skyrocketing. It's absolutely awesome. And that's why you need to click on that link below right now to get your very own gold and silver kit absolutely free. This gold and silver kit shows you how to get into precious metals tax-free and penalty-free, even if your money's still in a retirement account like an IRA or a 401k. And get this, you may already qualify to get up to $10,000 in free silver. I told you they're patriots just like us, and they're here to help. So whatever you do, don't wait. Defend your financial freedom by clicking on that link below right now and get your free gold and silver kit today. So as I'm sure you all know by now, but that deep state hack Jack Smith got smacked down by the Supreme Court last Friday. Smith filed a desperate appeal to the Supreme Court a few weeks back where he bypassed all lower appellate courts and instead went straight to the Supreme Court, imploring the Supremes to make a special ruling, an expedited ruling, on whether President Trump can claim immunity from criminal charges for actions taken as president. Now, the reason why he did this is because Jack Smith's sole job here is to interfere in the 2024 election. His sole reason for existence is election interference. And that interference requires that Trump be convicted by a corrupt DC court of a felony before the November election. And the only way that happens is if the court sticks to the March 4th trial date. The problem is that Trump's attorneys have filed lengthy and well thought out motions reasoning that the Constitution and the doctrine of presidential immunity require dismissal of this criminal case. The radical leftist Marxist judge in this case, Judge Chutkan, has of course denied each of those motions. And so back on December 7th, Trump's legal team filed an appeal to Chutkan's denials. And as long as those motions are going through the appellate process, the case against Trump is effectively stalled. There's nothing Jack Smith or Chutkan can do against him. And the appellate process can take months, going way beyond even November of next year. And so Jack Smith, in an act of desperation, decided to file a motion directly to the Supreme Court to get them to rule on whether Trump has immunity, thus bypassing this lengthy appellate process. And what's so hilarious is that he did everything he possibly could to try to convince the Supreme Court that they needed to rule on this like right now. Smith demanded that the Supreme Court make this ruling right now during their current court session. It had to be done before the Supreme Court term ends. Now, why on earth is it so important that this case be settled within this Supreme Court term as opposed to another term? Why is this term so important? He never once explained why in the filing. He simply demanded that the court must decide this issue before their current session is up. But he never, ever at any point explained or justified why such a speedy decision was necessary. But of course, we all know why. We know the only possible reason. It's because he needs them to decide before the election. And that's because Jack Smith has been tasked by the bumbling Biden Justice Department to blatantly interfere in this election with the legacy media's help, of course, with the legacy media cheering him all the way along. Well, the Supremes weren't buying it. The Supremes weren't convinced. Smith's motion to expedite the review of Trump's claim to immunity from prosecution was indeed denied. The Supreme Court saw through this. They saw how Smith was blatantly politicizing the legal system. They saw how he was desperately and deliberately trying to usurp the appellate process, and they weren't buying it. They didn't give Smith the time of day, and they're not alone in calling out the shenanigans, the legal shenanigans coming out of the Democrat Party. You may have heard that the Michigan Supreme Court has just ruled as of this morning against blocking Trump from their state ballot in 2024. Obviously, they don't want to have the same egg on their faces as those four left-wing lunatics on Colorado's Supreme Court already have on theirs. So there does seem to be some noticeable pushback coming from other courts against this blatant attempt to weaponize the legal system akin to the way banana republics weaponize theirs. In the meantime, Trump continues to absolutely crush it. The latest Morning Consult poll is Trump beating Biden in all 7 swing states. All 7. He's up 4 in Arizona. He's up 6 in Georgia. Remember, reports are that the Biden campaign has basically given up on Georgia. They're not even campaigning there at this point. Trump is up 3 in Nevada. He's up 9 in North Carolina. North Carolina isn't even a swing state at this point. It's solid red. He's up 4 in Wisconsin. You'll notice that Ohio, Iowa, and Florida, speaking of solid red, they've all been taken off the swing state list. And it's because they're officially deep red. That's part of the political realignment that's happened since 2016. Prior to 2016, Ohio, Iowa, and Florida were swing states. They were considered purple battleground states that could go either way. All 3 states went for Barack Obama in both 2008 and 2012. Those days are over. All 3 of those states, totaling upwards of 55 electoral votes, all 3 of those states are now solidly in Trump's corner. They are solid red. This is why they've got to cheat. Arizona, Georgia, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Nevada, they're all going red by significant margins. The Democrats can't win, and so they're blatantly cheating. They're doing precisely what they're accusing Trump of having tried to do back in 2020. And now with the latest smackdown for the Supreme Court, it looks like their hopes to interfere in the 2024 election just got totally dashed.
As many of you know, we have unfortunately been completely and totally demonetized, which is putting our daily communication with one another at risk like never before. Now, we are actively working on getting this resolved, but as things stand, this channel has, without any warning, been totally and completely demonetized. And as Elon Musk said so powerfully last week, the whole point of these demonetization efforts is to deliberately try to make us patriots feel like we're all alone. They want to sever our relationship with each other and force on us a kind of digital solitary confinement so as to demoralize us and discourage us like never before. But to their horror, it's not working. Over this past week, you have carried this channel like never before. We've had more people than ever make the courageous decision to bypass big tech and join our Insiders Club. We have direct access to one another that can never be interrupted by big tech overlords. Over the last 7 days, we've seen literally thousands of you come to our rescue. And you've done it in 2 ways. You've signed up for our free newsletter and you've officially joined our Insiders Club. Those 2 acts alone are enough for us to collectively stand together and never, ever have our relationship severed. So I'm inviting the rest of you to do the same today, just by clicking on that link below and signing up for our newsletter and joining our Insiders Club. You are guaranteeing that there is nothing that big tech can do to get between us and make us feel like we're in a digital solitary confinement. It's as simple as clicking on the link below right now and opting into our free email newsletter. And once you do that, you can financially support us by joining our Insiders Club. Gang, from the bottom of my heart, I cannot thank you enough for your support during a time like this. You are my heroes, and it will be my mission to express my appreciation for every single one of you each and every week.